Namaste, my beautiful queens. Time is almost 2 a.m. in the morning. Perfect time. Being honest with you, I was trying to find the source of information which would help to deal with the problem, which is so common and so widely spread. So I will, before I even start, I am grateful to the divine for sending me this information, because the trauma, the childhood traumas, unfortunately, influence everything. My previous video was about toxic shaming, and toxic shaming is connected with childhood traumas, and childhood traumas are the reasons of it's hard to even believe that we can be 50, 60, 70 and we still might have the humongous impact on our life of childhood trauma. Of course, sometimes we can have, many of us do, the impact of the past lives on this life. Of course, for that purpose, the regression therapy is needed. Again, Madhumita does it, Samantha does it, but in this video I'm going to talk about childhood trauma, and please don't ignore this. I am begging you. I am myself who experienced severe childhood traumas of any possible and impossible ways, and I can tell you that up to now, when I'm a little over 40, still I am working very hard, because I just started to work with this problem a couple years ago, and I wish I started before. The earlier you start with it, the better. Mishka in Russian is bear. So Mishka and me, we are going to talk about it. Please, queens, I am begging you, I will put the link to this website. What an unbelievable website. A man and a woman put this information together, which is so easy to access. All their tools are easy to access. I am endlessly grateful to the divine forces, to the higher forces, to showing me this website. And I will put the link, please, in the description box. Just click it and go into there. Do not ignore it, because everything in your life is impacted and influenced by childhood trauma. Your relationship, the way you feel about yourself, even your job, even everything. So please, I am begging you to please pay attention, because I really, really want you to be aware about it, because I honestly don't know anybody who haven't been dealing with it. So what happens, how childhood traumas happens. It happens, the thing is that it happens from a feeling of being unsafe. Of course, each one of your traumas, some of you were traumatized severely, I know firsthand. I always told you, I know what I'm talking about, because I'm dealing with it. So what happens when, as a child, you don't feel safe? What happens when this feeling of not being safe lasts a long time? This is going to stay in your psyche. This is going to stay as your painful wound, and it's gonna repress us as adult. I will share another secret with you. Up to today, I have panic attacks each morning before I wake up, because when I was a little, My mother would leave to work, and I would stay with someone who abused me severely, and it was abuse in every level. It was abuse. It wasn't sexual abuse, but it was abuse, physical, psychological, mental, everything, you name it. It's a long story, and it is going to be written in my book. But this is how I guess my soul chose to experience it, so I learned not to be broken. Because when I look back into my life, my youth, my childhood, even my story with my other half, I should have been broken already so many times. I should have been already like this ash, but somehow I just put myself out of nothing, and rise again. And then I'm looking at myself thinking, holy, how did I do it? How did I actually I got through this? So you got through this as well, so you're very strong. But please stop neglecting. So I have this panic attacks because before you wake up each morning, it's me being that 5, 6, 7-year-old child, which is scared because the morning has come and I'm gonna be abused as soon as my mom leaves. And I've digged and read thousands of books and everything else, finding the ways of healing this. And of course, the best way, if you work with healers and professionals, in ideal case, if you have a professional psychologist and a healer in one person. I will give you a little secret, give away a little secret. The healers by nature go into a profession of psychologist because they naturally feel that their gift can help people. So you won't believe, but 80% at least of psychologists, and even psychologists, psychiatrists, are natural healers because they have it in them to help. So of course, the painful wounds of childhood, they are repressed by they really affect us as adult. And the point of this video, and also when you go into the website, I'm gonna put a link in the description box. You need to learn to help. Don't ignore it, because if you ignore it, nothing gonna change. This is going to show you how to work with your inner child. I want you to kind of reflect on your childhood, the timeline of your early years, how you felt, and did you feel safe? Did you feel a sense that you belong to the family? I never felt that. Were you permitted to be you? Were you allowed to be you? And now look at your relationship with your inner child. This is important. What is inner child? It's the inseparable from you part of your psyche. It's that part which still has that innocence, creativity, this wonder towards the life. And that inner child, it lives in within, and in each one of us. It's so called the word psyche. And it's important, extremely, to stay connected with that sensitive, this pure part of our self. We need to be connected with that inner child. We need to heal that inner child. What is feeling safe? Safety is not always connected with a physical environment. It is very often not just physical environment, but emotional, psychological, and spiritual. So when you feel safe within your family, then you grow up having your own physical and emotional boundaries respected. So our authentic selves respected. They say, when you have the girl, when you're growing up as the girl, you need, the best. The happy girls are grown up when they have this loving, caring father. Unfortunately, the girls which grow with abusive father or neglecting father or father and mother, in my case, there were no father at all whatsoever. And that man who would be strong and who would be there, making me feel loved and protected, it didn't exist, unfortunately, in my life. So, as well as probably in some of yours. So our authentic selves accepted, and we feel close to our family, and we feel loved by our family. And then this is feeling safe. What is not feeling safe? Unfortunately, again, this is extremely big problem. Growing up, uh, when you felt unsafe, it could be connected with, of course, being punished. Even sometimes, I know many Muslim girls, many Muslim countries, when a girl is born, I heard this expression, you are less than nothing. Girl is not even someone. Girl is less than nothing. Boy is considered, has a lot of value. Girl is less than nothing. So I saw and dealt with many girls which were considered by their father, sometimes father and mother, less than nothing. So what do you expect when she grows up to have self-value and self-acceptance? Of course not. She has to work with it. Of course, the problem is, I'm not trying to teach you to blame your parents or whoever was bringing you up. This is not my goal at all. I'm not trying to teach you to blame, it's all because of those guys. Here, it's not going to work. I've been there, done that. It's not going to work. Father who never was in my life, mother who always thought of me with she's weird. She's such a weird thing. But no, not blaming your parents or whoever brought you up. This is important to understand. It's just, first of all, you have chosen your parents before you incarnate. You have to understand it. You cannot blame what you have chosen. Your spirit, in a spiritual level, before you incarnate, you see the most important people who are going to influence your life. It's your parents, siblings, spouses, and those you are gonna love. And some of those spirits are from the same level and the same so-called group of spirits which agree sometimes to come and be tough on you and be harsh on you, so you learn to rise, not to fall, and to rise. Please read the book The Journey of Soul. We choose our parents. We choose it together with the keepers, so-called guides and keepers of karma, because our childhood influences our entire life. So that you have to understand, not to blame your parents. And the same time, blaming leads you nowhere. And plus, many of them were trying their best. Maybe not probably it wasn't the best choice for us, but in how it impacted our life. But blame and resentment only serves to intensify the pain of your inner child. Please just don't go into blaming. Be mindful, and do your work with your inner child, not in order to blame your parents, no, for you to to heal and live your life to the fullest. Stop getting into unsuccessful, humiliating, abusive relationships, so on and so on. So, what is feeling unsafe as a child? Examples: you were taught or you were told it's not okay to have your own opinion. Hello, religious families. You are not allowed in a religion to have your opinion. You have to shut up and simply obey the rules. Again, you were punished when trying to speak up differently than environment. Again, religious families, hello. You must not speak any differently. You must not ask questions. You shut up and you obey. This is how it is. Discouraged from enjoying life. Also, I've been through that. When you're having fun, laughing, having fun, enjoying is prohibited. You must work and do useful thing. Work and do useful thing. Be useful. Be useful. You are not allowed to have fun. You are not allowed to be spontaneous. Again, hello, religious family. You were not allowed to show emotions. And many boys are brought up with this ridiculous thing is be a man. Be a man. What is being a man? Be a man means don't show your emotions at all. Don't cry. Don't show your emotions. Then they grow up and they don't show us no emotions. And we only can blame, no, not blame, but this is how it is. So forbidden to show emotions. Shamed. This goes together with my previous video about toxic shaming. You were shamed by parents, so shame on you. How can you be this? God is gonna punish you. God is gonna send you to hell. Hello, religious family. I am asked very often why you hate religions so much. I have many reasons. Beside I was a little bit less than a year from PhD in history of religions. I know religions like you won't believe how deep I know religions, and I have tons of reasons to hate religions because I know too well what I'm dealing with, what they are. And I'm talking monotheistic religions. I'm not talking about Vedic knowledge or Buddhism. I'm talking about those religions which have nothing but suppression, rules, dogmas, darkness, and denying of fundamental law, which are reincarnation, karma, incarnations, and spiritual growing. So you're not allowed to have emotions. You are shamed by parents, shamed by family members, verbally criticized, abused on regular basis. Who hasn't been there? I do not know nobody. Verbally criticized or abused. Of course, the worst comes here: physically punished, beaten up. Again, I have been there for many years. Severely beaten up, severely punished. So also this responsibility, you're a 3-4 year old and you're being told, go and bring me this. If you don't go and bring me this, I'm gonna beat you up. And in you are 4-5 year old, you don't know what the hell to do. You go outside and you're trying to fulfill the demand because you're gonna be beaten up, and then you come empty handed, and you say, I didn't find it, I couldn't get it without the money, and you get beaten up severely, and you can't even talk. This is the scariest one. Your little one, you don't have nobody to even complain, because if you complain, it's gonna be worse. The abuser is gonna make it even worse for you. So of course, this is the examples of you have to pay attention. Childhood neglect, of course. Childhood neglect can be emotional. Emotional neglect, of course, it's much worse when it is emotional and physical, but the emotional neglect as well can cause the this see, the parents, they should show emotional support. So you could be denied your need for love, as a child needs love, support, guidance, protections, or parents didn't pay attention to you at all. So what happens when you were emotionally neglected? It unfortunately causes low self-worth and low self-esteem. Then you begin ignoring your emotional needs. You learn to hide. You learn to avoid emotions, suppress, repress your emotions. You develop, unfortunately, depending on how severe was that neglect, emotional neglect, you develop psychological or physical, sometimes even sickness, or inability to accept and deal with your emotions in a healthy way. Again, please click the link I'm gonna put under this video. Don't ignore it. Do something about it. Queens, just kings, do something about it. In boys, the childhood traumas develop into narcissism. And if you think the narcissists, manipulators are just born demons, just he's born and he's already a demon. No, childhood trauma creates the base for narcissism. It doesn't mean you have to become a victim of a narcissist and try to heal a narcissist. No, but I'm just telling you this causes that as well. Now, second, the toughest one, I might not have time to tell you everything I want to tell you. If I don't have time, there will be second part linked under this video. I need to drink some, and I want you to please spread this information. This is too grandiose of a problem, and if we ignore it, it's not gonna change. You ignore it, your inner child, abused inner child, you're gonna keep on choosing abusive relationship, bad works, situations in which you are going to be treated wrong, so on and so on. So second most severe one, psychological neglect. I'm probably thinking to make a meditation on inner child. I'll think about it. I'll dig more into it. Psychological neglect is when your parents or those, or guardians, parents, they absolutely didn't care what you say, so, or they didn't show you any support, they didn't listen to you, they didn't embrace the nature of the person you are. So what happens is, you grew older, you were growing up, and these are the symptoms. Again, low self-esteem. Again, self-value is not even there. Gosh, I have everything. I have it all. I am having it all. Low self-esteem. Then when you were put down constantly, when you were giving ridiculous high expectations, so here is a root of narcissism. My mom gonna love me, or my papa's gonna love me, or papa and mama are going to love me if I only A plus student. If I am not A plus student, they not gonna love me. I don't deserve love. The root of narcissism, when they grow up, they wear all the kind of masks so everyone loves them. High expectations. Now, also psychological neglect, when you are being ignored, when you are being rejected, when you are being constantly punished. What happens? You develop not just low self-esteem, but this deep anger issues. Those are unresolved childhood trauma, as well. Also, the deeper problem, you can develop addictions, you can develop neurosis, you can develop psychological, even physical illnesses. And again, we are dealing with, unfortunately, the relationship we enter, unfulfilling or abusive relationship. The worst one, in my opinion, physical neglect. Physical safety for the child is fundamental level. Physical safety is necessary for you in the future, being able to build a loving relationship. Uh, of course, what happens when you were physically abused? Again, low self-worth. I literally thought for many years that I deserved it. I literally was sure, well, yeah, that's how I am. Even when I had to deal with again, it's easy to blame, and you all of you know that I'm a twin flame, of those of you who listen to me, and I happen to be a twin flame of a huge celebrity. So when it all started, I was like, me and this man, I am nothing. I usually said that, and I was believing in it, and I was absolutely sure of it. I am nothing. He is that, and I am nothing. I cannot be. And But how the destiny worked, there are too many things you can't ignore. But it took me a couple of years to admit, okay, fine, I am his twin flame. I have to do something about it. I have to work with myself. I have to be doing what I have come here to do, and this is to make a difference in people's life, to make anything I can to help, to heal, to make you shine. So, of course, physical abuse creates the low self-worth. It creates anorexia or obesity. You either eat too much or you don't eat. It unfortunately sometimes creates a safety seeking behavior, or so-called psychological complex called OCD, or risk-taking behavior, obsessive types of behavior, addictions to drug, alcohol, all kinds of things. But I'm by nature so strong that I've never even smoked. I can't stand the smell of smoke. I never was drunk in my life. I never smoked. I didn't jump into because it sometimes causes that you change sexual partners. Also, when you were in physical neglect, I somehow avoided this. I was finding power and strength in books, mainly in books. So please, I want you to not ignore it, and they're gonna be there. Second part. In a second part, I will be talking about 25 signs that you have a inner a wounded child. Of course, of course, please remember, I am begging you to remember this. I am begging you to remember and be gentle to yourself, please. Look at yourself in a mirror and be grateful for your strength. You've been through so much. Please remember, while some or even many of our problems come from childhood neglect, blaming, grudge holding, my beauties, will take you nowhere. People are victims of victims. means that the reason why our parents or those who brought us up behaved the way they did is more likely because they themselves were growing up like this, neglected like this, because their parents also in their turn experienced the same trauma, so on and so on. So this is the reason. And also the believe it or not, the tough childhood you could choose as a spirit yourself to experience, so you can grow up and help others heal, because we choose our experiences so our spirit can get to the maximum level in one incarnation, in one life. So this could be as well the reason we choose our parents. Please read the Journey of Soul. In next part, I will be talking about 25 signs of a inner child wounded, and please click the link in the description box. Everything is going to be written there, and when you open it up, it's going to give you an article and all the links to the practicing of healing. I will talk to you soon. Namaste.